We've mentioned a lot that UCS is designed to solve pain points, and one of the pain points that it can solve is managing a large server infrastructure. So let's just imagine that for a moment. Let's say we have 20 servers in an environment and we're responsible for all of them. And we get a request to make a change to all 20 servers. Maybe that's changing the VLAN tag on a management interface or something trivial that we're going to have to go out and touch all 20 servers, which is going to be a nightmare to do. Wouldn't it be great if we had a software package that enabled us to manage all 20 of those all at once? And even better, if we had a package that could do it free of charge. See, some vendors do actually provide that service, but they want to charge you for it. And with UCS Manager, or UCSM, it comes included in the system, and we can use it to manage all of our servers at once. In this video, we're going to drill into what UCSM can do for us. One of the keys to understanding more about UCS Manager is we want to know where it lives. And in order to do that, let's take a look at the UCS infrastructure that we looked at in a previous video. So we know the fabric interconnects are going to sit between the servers and the upstream network. So we have the LAN and the SAN, the LAN being the local area network, which is where it's our data network where the PCs live, our storage area network, which should be where our storage arrays live, maybe the fiber channel networks that we've mentioned before. And downstream of the fabric interconnects on the other side of the network, we have the various server types that we've discussed. So we have the B series servers, the C series, the S series. Now UCS Manager lives here on the fabric interconnects, meaning that it comes pre-installed on these devices. Now we remember that they look a lot like network switches. These don't remind us of servers. There's no hypervisor running on this, which says this isn't a software package that we need to install. Cisco has pre-installed it onto the fabric interconnects, and it's accessible via what we call a virtual IP address, which is just an IP address that is shared between the two. So you can think of it as if they each have a virtual connection into the network, so that if one of those fabric interconnects were to go down, we can still access UCS Manager by way of the other fabric interconnect. Now UCSM is run via HTML5, which is a blessing. At the start of the UCS world, it used to run in Java, and we don't have to worry about Java anymore. We simply point our web browser to that virtual IP address. So whether your favorite web browser, whatever that is, and we point it to that IP address, and we have access to UCS Manager. So everything about configuring the UCS environment, any kind of VLAN configuration, creating new servers or discovering new servers, that is all accessed via UCS Manager. So there's no more pointing your devices to these individual servers to manage them. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Everything that we do is through UCS Manager. And one other key point to UCS Manager, we might look at this and say, okay, well, UCS Manager has gone down for whatever reason. Maybe we did an upgrade on it. And if we have to upgrade UCS Manager, it will go down for a time, for example. Or what happens if one of those fabric interconnects goes down? How long do I have to wait in order for that's supposed to be a clock, by the way. How long do I have to wait to be able to access UCS Manager again? And is my environment down? If all of my applications and my data live on these servers, have I lost access to them, or can I still access those? The good news is that while UCS Manager is down, we still have full access to this. We don't have to worry about losing access to our data. It's out of band, we call that. Out of band management of the environment. So with UCS Manager being down, for whatever reason, we still have full access, can come in through the network and access our applications and our data. One quick note about how Cisco continues to innovate in this space. We've mentioned that UCS Manager has been around since 2009 and lives on the fabric interconnects. And while it has evolved a couple of times, for example, it started as Java, which is awful, and we moved to HTML5, which is great. Cisco wants to evolve it further, and where they want to push it is into the cloud, specifically their Intersite cloud. Now, Intersite is not an included product into the UCS space. We have to subscribe to Intersite. So if you already have UCS in your environment, you might not have it today, but it's something that you can add on at any time. Now what this allows us to do is, let's say we have multiple UCS instances, maybe 3 different sites and UCS Manager instances at all 3 of them. We can manage all of it as users through a single pane of glass, which is Cisco Intersight. So if we're deploying UCS new or if we already have it, either way, Intersight is something that we would want to consider adding into our environment. Now, I absolutely want to end our time together by looking at what UCS Manager looks like. And this is UCS Manager 3.2. I've got pulled up in my web browser. Again, this is an HTML5 interface, which is absolutely beautiful. And right away, we're met with a splash screen that shows us the configuration of the entire environment. So for example, we have Fabric Interconnect A, Fabric Interconnect B. We have 4 different chassis that are connected in. Looks like we have a rack mount server over here that's directly connected to the Fabric Interconnects. And from there down here, we've got a lot of rack mount servers all connected through something called a Fabric Extender, FEX. That just aggregates a bunch of rack mount servers, saves us consuming those ports on the Fabric Interconnects upstream. Now this interface is great. If we want to drill deeper and look at any one of these pieces of hardware, all we have to do is drag our cursor over and double click. So let's say double click on Fabric Interconnect A, pulls it up. We can do port configuration here. We can see information such as the product ID. There is a tree over here on the left. You see that we've landed on Fabric Interconnect A. We could click over to Fabric Interconnect B and take a look at that and see the interface statuses on there. So overall, UCS Manager is very intuitive to use. UCS Manager is a big part of what makes UCS special. It allows us to manage all of those servers from a single pane of glass. It's accessed via our web browser through an HTML5 interface, and it lives on the Fabric Interconnects. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.